The first topic will be blockchain. This is the thing that stands behind cryptocurrencies and NFTs. So what is blockchain? Blockchain is the process in which data is verified and then memorized across multiple computers through a blockchain network. This comes out to have multiple chains of blocks of persistent data that cannot be changed without everybody publicly knowing. This is what is used to back Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. That was launched back in 2019. Blockchain technology uses blocks of data linked in chronological order called a blockchain. Each of these blocks cannot be altered or deleted without any participants of the blockchain network becoming aware. When somebody is blockchain mining or Bitcoin mining, what they're doing is doing floating point math to confirm that the blocks of data in the blockchains are equal to the rest of the network. What sets blockchain apart from other technologies is that it's immutable, verifiable, transparent, open source, and it runs on a distributed network. When I say immutable, I mean that's never changing. Verifiable means that people can verify it and you can see what has changed and how it's changed. Transparent means that you can go through and see who's changed what and when. Open source means that you can see the structure of the programming of the blockchain technology. And the distributed network means that it runs on multiple users over multiple computers over the entire internet network, such as peer-to-peer technology. Because of those characteristics, blockchain technology is great for being used as a cryptocurrency, digital ledger, smart contract, auditing, and in digital voting. How does blockchain mining work? Well, first, when you're mining, all you're really doing is doing fancy math to verify the new transactions on the blockchain network. Once you've validated those transactions, you receive a Bitcoin, and that blockchain uh, information that you've solved is added to the blockchain ledger. This is done solving complex cryptographic hash puzzles to verify blocks of transactions that are updated in the decentralized blockchain ledger. That, again, is just fancy talk for using floating point math to say, yes, this is a standardized transaction, this is real. The reason why blockchain technology works as a cryptocurrency is that there is a set number of blocks within a blockchain ledger. This allows it to be treated as fiat money because there's a sense of scarcity since there's a set number of blockchains transactions that can happen within the blockchain network. This is a false scarcity though, because once one coin runs out of potential blockchains, another crypto coin can start up and you have competing financial monies. So this leads us into NFTs. So what is an NFT? Can somebody tell me? NFT stands for non-fungible token. Fungible is a fancy word for being able to make a copy of something, a very good copy. Um, these tokens are stored within the blockchain ledger as a bit saying this person has this token file. And then the ledgers is publicly validated within the blockchain network to validate ownership of that. The way that the NFT transaction process works is that somebody creates something to represent the NFT. That's either a picture or a video. The NFT then is placed on a marketplace. The person who created it uploads the picture and says create NFT and link it to this image. Whoever buys the NFT off the marketplace has to then send it into their wallet. Once that person has bought the NFT and it's in their wallet, they're allowed to either keep it or try to sell it again for an upsell on another NFT market. Specifically, to create an NFT, one would have to create media to act as a representation of the NFT. and then choose a blockchain and marketplace to sell it on. Ethereum and OpenSea are two popular options for this. They would create a NFT wallet and connect it to both the Ethereum market blockchain and the OpenSea marketplace. And from there, you would upload the picture into OpenSea and say, as soon as this is purchased, please create an NFT within the blockchain representing this image. Once that's done, it's added to the blockchain ledger, and you could have an NFT. There are risks with the NFT market, though. When you're creating an NFT, you normally have to pay a fee for creation, and it's a flooded market. Everybody's creating these things. From a buying perspective, again, false scarcity of the market allows for bulk purchases. Each NFT is valued differently. Some NFTs are created by computer scripts and not actual humans, so that means that they could be valued less. And they can be stolen from a user's wallet as well.
Chris, would you run and get some milk? And be sure to take it from the back. Chris, where have you been?
I don't know.
Okay, so why did I have you watch that random Family Guy clip of an 80s music video that you're probably not aware of? Let me explain. NFTs are sold at a marketplace, just like this grocery store. NFTs can be represented by multiple things. If you look on all the aisles of a grocery store, you have multiple items there. You have milk, you have some other bottle up there, you have more milk. It's mostly milk. You get the idea. Every single item, though, on the shelf represents a NFT, and it ties back to an entry within the NFT's ledger of choice. A blockchain ledger is separate from the marketplace, but is accessed by the marketplace, just as the grocery store is connected but separate to the music video. Since the NFT ledger is public, hackers and scam artists can much more easily target high-value assets. Such as Seth Green, who was scammed out of $275,000 for just one of his 4 stolen NFTs. Now let's discuss Web 2.0 and some social media technologies. So I doubt many of you remember this, but what was the internet pre-Web 2.0?
Back now at 56 past, I wasn't prepared to translate that as I was doing that little tease.
Oh, that's
that little
right.
mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At?
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'd never heard
Or
it.
around
I'd never
or
heard it
about.
said. I'd always
That's
seen the
right.
mark, but never heard
Yeah.
it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
Yeah, I
wouldn't
heard
be
something
around
big
or
fight
about.
up in the lunchroom the other
See,
week.
there it is. Violence at NBC. GE.com. I mean,
Well, Allison should know.
what
do you
is
say to that,
internet
Allison?
anyway?
Internet is that
Massive computer
right,
network.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
Oh, Allison will be in the studio shortly.
What is
What
it?
does it mean?
It's a giant computer network made up of started from.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what this was.
It's like
You've been
a
looking in the
computer
dictionary.
billboard.
It's not in it. It's a computer billboard, but it's
Right.
nationwide, and it's several universities and everything all joined together. And
Right.
And others can access it.
Right.
And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
It
Just
came
great.
in really handy during the quake. A lot of people, that's how they were communicating out to tell family and loved ones they were okay because all the phone lines were down.
I was telling Katie, and I've
But
been
you don't
talking.
need that. You don't need a phone line to operate internet.
No.
This is what the old internet looked like. Basic, very small, very static, and this was considered good. This wasn't ironic. They meant it to look like this, and this was considered a very nice website. Since Web 1.0 was static, communications were limited to emails, chatbot software systems such as AOL Instant Messenger and Yahoo Messenger, or private web portals such as AOL. And that's what made up the big difference between Web 1.0 and Web 2.0. Web 1.0 was static. It was meant to be more of a brochure. You would go to a website to read about something, and then you would make a decision about it later to make a purchase. You would either call or go to a dealership or go to the store. There was also very few content providers. It was a one-way communication style, old and clunky and static. Web 2.0, though, on the other hand, encourages readers' feedback and enable larger participation. Everybody can become a content provider, while everybody is also a content consumer. This is the picture of the Pizza Hut website from the 90s. In order to order a pizza, you would write down your name, your street address, and your phone number, and then they would call you. So, service with a smile. You don't get that with Uber Eats today. Well, I mean, they call you, but only when your food's lost and it's cold by this point, and you've already gone somewhere else to get food. But yeah, so Web 2.0 really isn't doing it for me at this point. Again, looking at that past Pizza Hut website, it was a static information. There was no feedback to the user input. You would just put in your contact information and wait for somebody to call you. The design was limited. You saw the Pizza Hut logo, and then you saw text. There was also a lot of security holes. There's a good chance that that form on the Pizza Hut website didn't encrypt any of that information as they sent it back and forth to the server. And finally, the human interaction on the company's end. Pizza Hut had to call you to place the order. And that's where Web 2.0 really was able to come in and make some changes. Web pages became dynamic based upon the user or their location. So the Pizza Hut would automatically know which Pizza Hut to send the order to. And using scripting languages such as PHP and JavaScript allow for an actual menu and a shopping cart system. It can allow it to automate the process of the sale. That allows for the user to have input, have interaction, and then get feedback. And they'd also get a pizza. Early examples of Web 2.0 would be Wikipedia, Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms. Interesting fun fact, the way Twitter used to work is that you would send an SMS text message from your dumb phone to Twitter and it would then post it on their website. That is why Twitter initially had a 140 character limit. eBay was also a Web 2.0 technology, as were Amazon and Yahoo when Yahoo moved to create their custom portals. A hypothetical thing that they're still talking about is Web3. It's trying to figure out a way of decentralizing the structure of the internet, mostly using blockchain. There's definite benefits to it. If everything's out in the open, there's security and accountability, and it's a shared control. But the way that you would implement it is difficult, and frankly, this is much more of an idea than anything else. It's important to remember that the terms Web 2.0 and Web 3 aren't like scientific terms. These are marketing terms came up by people to label an era in web technology development. So we didn't come out and say, oh, Web 1.0 and then Web 2.0. It was this new thing called the internet and then Web 2.0. Okay, let's talk about social media in detail. That's a cool picture. Social media is any application that supports user-generated content. That could be Facebook, Twitter, even sales stuff can be done that way. Within companies, you have Yammer, there's Facebook for Business, anything to where it's user-generated content, and then there's advertising sales. That's considered a social media business model. A social media information system, then, is the backbone of that program that allows for the users to create content and to post it. So a social media information system is the process of the users posting and interacting with the media. Snapchat social media information system is somebody takes a picture, they either add it to their timeline or their story, and then they can send it to their friends. And then on top of that, if they send it to their friends, part of that information system is that the message becomes unreadable to their friends after a single use. Though Snapchat probably doesn't delete all that information. The basis of a social media information system is that you have user communities, and that is you following friends, you following influencers, you following somebody funny, a celebrity, having groups for families, having groups for classes. All of those things are considered a community or a community member. And you have information going back and forth between users that are posting to the social media site and then people taking that content and reading it and doing something with it or just scrolling past it. That is provided by the application provider. That's Facebook, that's Twitter, that's LinkedIn, that's whoever is paying the bills to keep the lights on for the servers to run. You have your sponsors then. They're the one that gives money to the social media application providers to have access to their communities so that they can also be posting stuff and then pulling data back to see what people are looking at. What's interesting with social media is that the communities are meant to overlap. If you look at this diagram, you have community A, and you can consider those the original users. From there, they go on and build their sub-communities out by inviting their friends, family, coworkers, whatnot, to join the site, or seeking them out, hoping that they've already been a member. This allows for communities to grow out, and you get sub-communities and subcultures. Now, what's unique is that the social media process is not controlled by a company. It's not controlled by the business that actually has the application up online. You can ask Elon Musk, he's learning this the hard way right now. The process responsibilities for social media is with the users. They are the ones that are going to be creating the content, just as they are going to be the ones consuming the content. Social media companies can have input on what people are allowed to post and not to post, and that's often dictated by its end user license agreement, or the EULA. Let's go over some end user license agreements that you may have already agreed to. When you post something to Twitter, they own it. If you look at how it's worded, anything that you post can be used royalty-free in any of Twitter's advertising and promotion. So if you get famous by a tweet, technically Twitter can own whatever comes from that if it can be pulled back as a copyright claim. Back before streaming was anything more than Pandora Radio, and you had to buy your music 99 cents at a song, iTunes had it to where while you could download the music and hold on to the download forever, the access to download the song through their platform, which you paid for, could be taken away at any time. This is if they were to lose music licensing rights or needed to change the media on their platform at all or wanted to halt services. Spotify's end user license states that if you download and install the app, you grant them the right to allow Spotify service to use processor bandwidth and storage hardware on your device in order to facilitate the operation of the Spotify service, to provide advertising and other information to you. The part highlighted in yellow used to say, we may collect information stored on your mobile device, such as contacts, photos, or other media files, in order to facilitate the operations. So that's kind of creepy. So social media has to encourage social media activities. They have to give the users a reason to choose their platform to post content and to read content. This can be done through creating some rewards and incentives, trying to pull in some mashups or viral content in beforehand, or making it much more convenient or having a cutting edge feature that other platforms don't have. This has to then have the impact measured. What are the metrics that people are looking for? They have to demonstrate that the metric validity. This is all the data that Elon Musk was given when Twitter was being taken over by him. This is how he wanted to see and find if there were bots. It's measuring the impact, looking at the analytics of people going through the social media and seeing what they're reading and seeing what they're posting and seeing if there's any trends within all of that. Interestingly enough, though, is that while social media and internet usage went up, sales still have gone down, and so has revenues and profits. So social media might not be working, and it's just more of creating noise within the market. Furthermore, users can be finicky and not like certain things or certain changes to social media platforms. When Instagram had their new layout that featured videos, there was a big backlash. Ask Kim Kardashian. A lot of people don't like Facebook Reels. Content moderation. People are either for it or against it. And user privacy is an issue. There's a perceived lack of control by the companies of their users. And also cringe media that seems to be appearing. So how do businesses manage the risks of social media? Well, there's two sides to this. There's businesses posting on social media and businesses that are social media. So if you're a business that is posting to social media, you have to be conscious about what you're posting, what that messaging implies, and what your consumers are giving you back as feedback. So if you have a business that has a lot of bad reviews, you have to figure out how to negate that, start getting customers to come back and start having positive reviews. Or if you're trying to get content out there to go viral, figure out something that you can make that's funny or something that's witty, etc. From the standpoint of the business that is hosting the social media platform, there is limited things you can do, from a fact that you can state, don't post this, but until there is a automated system that filters out that content, you still have to wait for other users to post or flag the content that should not be on the platform. The other thing they can do is they can ban users, but you got users that can just go off and make another account, jump back on, things like that. So as social media is used in businesses, like we stated before, it's a consumer sided thing. So it can be a way for them to interact with their consumers. They can use it for advertising revenue. So they can either sell ads onto the content directly, or they can try to create viral content of their own. They can use it for market research for new projects. They can use it for public relations and customer service. For internal companies, though, you could do an internal social network. Things like Yammer or Facebook for Business are popular. Another thing that companies are doing are they're having internal podcasts, internal blogs, and some even have an internal video platform with YouTube-style videos consisting of things about the company and things that the employees need to know. Now let's transition into talking about the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is just a network of physical objects. Anything that can connect to a network that has low interaction, such as a smart light bulb, smart Instapot, smart radio, smart lamp, smart book bag, smart iron. I already said lamp. I'm just naming off stuff as I see it in my apartment right now. But yes, a smart device and the Internet of Things is just made up of smart devices connected via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So how are a bunch of random pieces of hardware connected to the internet actually an information system? Well, let's talk about a Apple Watch. The Apple Watch will collect data, so it collects your vital signs. It collects water stuff, I think. I don't know. I got yelled at for getting mine wet once. Things like that. So it can collect data. It can collect input. You can talk to it, you can push buttons on it, you can tell it to do things. Well, it can take all that information in, it can take all that data, and it can make decisions based upon it. That means that once it has figured out, okay, send this message to this person or play this song, it's able to have a data output. You say, hey Siri, play XYZ song, and then it just starts playing. No, Siri, stop. So yeah, that gives us actually a great example of some popular Internet of Things devices. Self-driving cars can be considered a thing that is an IoT device. It connects to the internet. So you could almost say a Tesla could be a IoT device because it gets software updates and things like that. It also falls apart a lot. I hear the quality issues are not that good. A Google Home or an Amazon Echo also act as an IoT device. When you say, hey Alexa, what's the weather outside? It takes that data input and then it gives a data output. Home security systems such as the Ring doorbell, that's an IoT device that's taking video data input, processing it, and telling you if you're getting broken into or if you have a weird neighbor. Fitbits, they track your steps, they track your health stuff, upload it to the cloud, and then you can get your health vitals off of that. And other medical devices. There are blood glucose readers now that are IoT. So here is a use case scenario. This is a thing I made up called a clicker. Think of it as a giant button, and all it does is that it logs when that button's been pushed. I'm using this for an EH&S system to where we have these located throughout the factory near what we consider high-risk areas, and whenever somebody sees a potential hazard, they're to push the button. And then we collect that data, we see how many times the button's been pushed, at what times, so we can figure out which areas are more high risk than others. But again, this is taking the data input of a push, sending the information from that, so which clicker it was and where it was located in the factory and at what time, pushing it to the data server, and then we make decisions based off of that, trying to figure out which ways and which places have more hazardous areas. So that's how it affects businesses. It allows for automated data collection. Another way of thinking about this is the Disney wristbands. I have a 2-hour video on how that failed. They spent billions of dollars, and apparently it sucked. It allows for centralized controls. You can use Wi-Fi now instead of having dedicated lines to control your AC units within businesses. And enhanced computing power. The Amazon Echo logic is for remote software, and you can have your business set up to actually make customized Amazon Echo prompts, things like that. Now, with every device that you connect to your personal Wi-Fi network, you open up another potential attack area for somebody to hack into your network. Cyber attacks are very, very popular with IoT devices. Even large-scale industrial IoT type devices, such as commercial AC systems. In 2013, Target had their air conditioning sabotaged, and they had the heat stay on for probably 3 days straight before they could get all the stores to actually be able to have access to their AC again. This is why a lot of medical devices are still analog. We don't want somebody hacking into that. And then loss of privacy through like things like the information, such as the cameras, like a Ring doorbell. What you'd be looking at there is that somebody could hack into that camera and watch it. Same as somebody could potentially hack into a laptop camera and watch you. If it's there, it could potentially be hacked. Coming up towards the end here, we're now going to talk about business intelligence, which is the use of data to provide analytics to make decisions. So business intelligence as a whole is the use of data to make decisions, to make intelligence decisions. This is done by having to collect the data. This could be as far down as having people do marketing research polls and surveys. It could also be going off and buying data sets from other advertising companies. This is where you would have, like in Glen Ross, the leads. The leads were the most valuable thing. The good leads were the most valuable. The bad leads got you fired. That's all built off of business intelligence. So you collect the data, you analyze the data, and you figure out who you're going to be selling to. You're creating that lead generation. This map here just shows the simplicity of what the business intelligence system works. Acquire the data, analyze the data, and publish the data. That could either be all done by a business intelligence analyst, or at the last two stages, the user could come in and take over from there. Now, business intelligence can be used multiple ways using same data sets. So let's take a look here. Target is a retail company. They are trying to do a process to promote to new customers, and the objective is to improve assessment of pregnancy. So I think we talked about this in class before. A couple years ago, Target got sued for sending pregnancy-based information for advertising for coupons to a girl who wasn't married, to a teenage girl who wasn't married by her parents, because they thought it was appalling that Target would assume and send that information to her. Well, it turns out that apparently the daughter shops at Target regularly and uses her debit card. And what they were tracking was that she was taking in extra foods that had certain supplements that were often used in pre-neonatal areas of women's life or whatever. And it turns out she actually was pregnant and she just hadn't told her parents yet. Netflix. Netflix is a movie rental. Okay, Netflix was a movie rental company. They're a streaming service now. They need a process for movie recommendations. Their objective is better prediction of the next movie that you'd want to watch. In my opinion, this is still hot garbage and still works horribly. Um, their process should be is that you can rate movies yourself personally, and then it's almost like a Pandora, and you can go through and say, I want comedies here, and I want them with this rating, etc. But no, nobody listens to me. So again, the three primary activities of business intelligence is acquiring the data. That's either using portals that carry data, buying data sets, collecting the data yourself through polls, surveys, uh, web analytics, things like that. You find data sets that can lead you to the answers that you kind of have in the back of your head. You analyze that data. You look for how it can tell you a story. You want to see where it interacts with another data set. How can we use this to boost sales, or how can we use this to target sales, or how can we use this to cut costs? Those are the kinds of questions you want to answer. Once you find something like that, you publish it. And that's just putting it out within the company that, hey, we're going to make more sales if we go and target this customer, or we can save money if we move the assembly line around this way, or if we hold back inventory, we can push sales higher, things like that. Looking at the first step, acquiring data, you want to obtain the data, and again, that's buying it, that's all the stuff we've discussed before. But from there, you want to clean the data, so you want to make sure that all the data entities are complete, and that there's no outliers. So if you've ever filled out a form and where it says, put down your email, you're like email@email.com or something like that, that's outlier data that has to purge you out of the system. Once it's all cleaned and nice and pretty, you organize it and you relate the data to itself and to other data sets, and then you catalog the data. That's so that you can find it later on or other people can find it. You use meta tags and other category type systems to catalog the data. It's weird because it's a database of data, but your head will wrap around it at one point. The second activity is analyzing. Analysis methodically breaks a thing down to examine its details in order to discover or reveal its essential features. Analysis of a business intelligence database breaks down the data to look for patterns in the details. Here we classify the two major types of business intelligence analysis: reporting and data mining. As seen in this table, the two different types of analysis satisfy the different effectiveness objectives we identified earlier. The following slides discuss the different types of analysis in more detail. Non-interactive analysis involves the four basic operations: sorting, filtering, grouping, and calculating. If a user has generated a report on customers and is interested in only those who are repeat customers, he can filter out all other customers so only repeat customers appear in the report. The user can then choose to calculate the values of these orders and so on. This is considered non-interactive because the output of the report will be the same each time the report is generated. A second type of non-interactive report is called an RFM analysis. For an example, an RFM analysis can analyze and rank customers according to their purchasing patterns. RFM analysis considers how recently a customer has ordered, how frequently a customer has ordered, and how much money the customer has spent. The result of this analysis provides the user with an RFM score. The results are first by how recently a customer ordered, and then by frequency, and finally by money spent. Scores for each category typically range from 1 to 5, with 1 being the best score a customer could receive in each category. In this slide, we see an example of 3 customers and how their RFM score sorted them. When someone wants an interactive report, you use the basic operations of a non-interactive report, the same logic, the same concepts, but you do it through an online analytical processing system. This means that the data is alive and dynamic, and you can build out multiple drill downs, and you can build out multiple tables, and you can build out a multi-dimensional analysis. The data then is much more easier for people to slice and dice and push into a live running dashboard that allows the dashboard to be interactive, and the user can pull more information out of that. As we saw earlier, there are 2 different types of informing processes. We just completed a discussion on the first type, the reporting process. Now we're going to look at the data mining process. Earlier, we defined the difference between these 2 types, and we mentioned that data mining uses advanced statistical analysis to find patterns and relationships among data for classification and prediction. As you recall, we used Netflix as an example of the company that utilizes data mining. There are 5 basic types of analysis used by data miners. They are cluster analysis, regression analysis, market basket analysis, decision trees, and supervised and unsupervised data analysis.